In a world where fixed broadband operators face an array of challenges, from stagnant revenue growth to the need for substantial investments, the journey to transform from a telco to a techco has never been more crucial. Many operators are seeking ways to boost revenue and ARPUs by launching innovative products and services, and at the same time are making substantial investments, especially in rolling out high-speed FTTP networks. The complexity of managing these networks requires significant expenditure. To navigate this landscape, fixed broadband operators are turning to a telco to techco transformation, drawing inspiration from the success stories of leading cloud and OTT service providers. This transformative journey spans network evolution, product and service development, and crucial organisational changes. Each element is fundamental in reshaping the future of fixed broadband. For operators venturing into this transformation, understanding the lessons learned from their peers is essential. Equally vital is recognising the pivotal role that network vendors play in facilitating this leap from telco to techco. Join us at BDC Barcelona 2024 as we delve deep into the success stories, lessons learned, and the indispensable role of network vendors in the transformative journey from telco to techco. It's an exploration that will redefine the future of fixed broadband operators worldwide. Don't miss out on this unparalleled opportunity. Register now and be part of the evolution.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Oliver. I am the Vice President of Consulting at Omdia, which is the research and consulting arm of Informa Tech. I'll be your host this afternoon, and I'm very much delighted to welcome you all here to the 2024 Broadband Development Congress Barcelona Summit, as hosted by the World Broadband Association. For those of you who are perhaps less familiar with the World Broadband Association, or the WBBA, it was established in the middle of 2021 with a goal to drive the kind of innovation and collaboration required to bring the benefit of broadband to all. And the WBBA does this by working in a very complementary fashion with the much more technically focused standards organizations, by cooperating with and influencing policymakers and regulators, and really seeking to lead industry development with business decision makers from the kinds of organizations in the broadband ecosystem that you can see on the right-hand side of the screen here. In terms of who is the World Broadband Association and who represents it, the WBBA has representation across all continents of the earth. As of this morning, 77 members, in fact, from over 30 countries. And the illustration you see on the screen behind me is just that, because such has been the rapid pace of membership uptake over the last couple of weeks. We've now since seen the likes of Harmonic, Safaricom, STC, Broadcom, and Deutsche Telekom as an observer join the array of logos that you see behind me on the screen. And what is it that those members do? Those members come together to create a collective voice for the broadband industry. Those members work together to identify, design, define, and execute new business models and new business opportunities. Those members come together to focus on the most critical hot topics in the industry and seek to shape opinion by debating those topics, primarily through the working groups that you see in the pink boxes on the screen. And really, those working groups are very much the engine room for the WBBA's strategic direction and industry influencing as it seeks to connect the world by bringing the benefit of broadband to all. You can see some contact details on the screen here. If you're not already a member, please do connect with us, join us on our journey, come and find me today during or after our event, and we can have a conversation around how you and your organization can contribute to and benefit from membership of the WBBA. Just thinking ahead for a moment to the kinds of things that we're going to be discussing and learning together today. So I mentioned that the WBBA is in the business of driving industry development. And one of the ways that it's seeking to support the industry and its members is in charting the path from the kind of telco to techco transformation that we saw on the explainer video slightly earlier today. We are seeing enterprise ITT spend continue to increase. We are seeing that driven by unprecedented levels of adoption of video collaboration tools, for example, adoption of multi-cloud and hybrid cloud services, all of which is driving industry-wide fundamental digital transformation enabled by better connectivity, but which going forward is going to require a range of value-added services. And in terms of who is going to be best placed to deliver the demands placed on by those value-added services, this is where the concept of the Techco becomes to have its vision and its mission. There's no single definition of what we mean by Techco, but in the most simple terms, we're thinking here of an organization which is delivering both technology and communication services. That company needs to be able to think and act and transform both internally from an operational perspective and also externally from a go-to-market and revenue-generating perspective. That transition from telco to techco is not simple, it's not straightforward, and it requires the kind of things that we see on the bottom of the screen here. It's going to require a radical transformation mindset, which in itself is going to require strong leadership. It's going to require access to deep and broad ecosystem of strategic partnerships, and there will, of course, be a need to invest in order to access the kind of revenue opportunities that we'll be talking about through the course of today. And the World Broadband Association exists to stimulate and drive this kind of conversation, enabling its members to chart that path from telco to techco successfully together. And we look forward to discussing that with you through the course of today's agenda. In order to officially start us today and our Broadband Development Congress Barcelona Summit, I'd now like to welcome onto the stage the chairman of the World Broadband Association Board, Dr. Zhengmao.
Your Excellency, Mr. Zhang Yunming, Vice Minister of Ministry of Industry and Information Technology of China, Your Excellency, Mr. Zhao Houlin, former Secretary General of ITU, Chair of WBBA Advisory Committee, Your Excellency, Mr. Ruiwen, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer at China Telecom. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be joined by friends, both old and new, in Barcelona, together with global partners, exploring the new path of network evolution and technological transformation to deliver broadband success, embracing new development opportunities, or the cloud and broadband industry. On behalf of the board of WBBA, I would like to extend a warm welcome and a sincere appreciation to you all. WBBA was born along with the rapid development and the transformation of information network. We are committed to serving for industry stakeholders, including operators, vendors, service and solution providers, policymakers, and investors around the world. Unite the global industry chain, promoting industrial communication and exchanges, strengthening technological cooperation to drive the future development of broadband. Since its official registration in November 2022, WBBA has always promoted international scientific and technological cooperation as an important work to bridge the digital divide and promote industry development. With enthusiastic dedication and active contribution of all the members of WBBA, we established the working group in fields of refining the next generation roadmap, broadband advocacy, environmental sustainability, and cloud network evolution to strengthen innovative research in the industry, technology, and applications of the cloud and broadband. We released the first WBBA annual flagship report, the Cloud and Broadband Industry Development Report, in Broadband Development Conference, Paris, 2023, in October last year. We evaluates global broadband and cloud access applications and potential to share our insights and understanding of current industry development and provide objective and trend guidance for countries to develop the industry. We have organized the summits worldwide in last year, including in Barcelona, Seminar, Shanghai Summit, and the BDC in Paris, and multiple global webinar conferences. WBBA keeps on the open cooperation, promoting the innovation, communication, and the exchange with the world cloud and broadband industry. I'm pleased to see that more and more industry partners have joined WBBA to actively participate in the global cloud broadband industry innovation. To date, WBBA has grown to 77 members from more than 30 countries around the world. In the future, the association will uphold the spirit of openness, inclusiveness, and win-win cooperation, and give full play to the role of WBBA as a bridge for international science and technological cooperation. We also sincerely invite global partners in the cloud network broadband industry to join WBBA in the endeavor of promoting the prosperity of the global cloud broadband industry and the high quality development of our digital economy. Today, we are honored to have renowned guests, Mr. Zhang Yunming, the Vice Minister of Ministry of Industry and Information Technology of China, Mr. Zhao Houlin, former Secretary General of ITU, Chair of WBBA Advisory Committee, and Mr. Ruiwen, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer at China Telecom, to attend this conference and deliver address and a keynote speech. Another good news is that we have Ms. Lara Dewar, Chief Marketing Officer from GSMA, to sign strategic cooperation agreement between GSMA and WBBA. We will work closely together, gathering global ICT resources along the industry chain, promote the development of mobile and cloud broadband industries. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for attending this conference and sharing your insights and thoughts on the global cloud and the broadband industry. Let's work together to strengthen global scientific and technological cooperation, open a new era of cloud and broadband industry development. So I wish this conference has complete success. So thank you very much.
Thank you for that welcome, Dr. Li Zhengmao. And as you heard in that welcome address, a very wide range of excellent speakers that we'll be hearing from today. And I'd like to introduce the next on stage, and it's my very great privilege to introduce the Vice Minister at the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology in China, Yunming.
尊敬的赵厚林秘书长，
Distinguished Zhao Houlin, former Secretary General of ITU, Mr. Ruiwen,
首席市场官，
Mr. Li Zhengmao, Lara, the Chief Marketing Officer of GSMA,
各位来宾，
Martin Creaner, Director General of WBBA, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
非常高兴参加2024年全球
I'm very pleased to be here to attend
会的宽
the
带发展。
2024 WBBA conference.
我谨代表中
First of all,
工业和信息化部
on behalf of the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology of China,
热烈的祝贺，
I'd like to extend my warm congratulations on the successful convening of this event.
重要组成
Broadband network is an important component of the digital infrastructure.
有效投资，
It effectively drives valid investment and promotes the consumption of information.
发挥着
It has also played an important role in promoting digital transformation.
重视
The Chinese government attaches great importance to the development and build-out of infrastructure, such as the broadband network.
要加
As
快
President Xi Jinping said,
高速泛战，
we need to speed up the build-out of
融合
base stations that covers the ground, aerial, and maritime,
安全
that converges cloud and network,
文化
that promotes green development,
基础设施
and that boasts security
经
and
济
reliability.
信息大动脉，
So this kind of digital infrastructure is the artery of the development of economy.
产业各
Over the past few years,
按照生
the MRIT has brought together partners from different industries. We abide by the principle that we need to plan ahead
并
and
取得了
has
效，
unswervingly promoted the development of the broadband network.
先的宽带网络
We have built the world's largest leading broadband infrastructure.
中
As of the end of 2024,
建成光网城市，光纤用户
many cities have completed the building
比例
of optical networks.
95%，
The proportion has exceeded 95%.
337万，实现了乡乡通5G。
We have further extended the 5G coverage, so now all villages have access to the 5G.
建成全球
Our comprehensive technical strength has been strengthened, and we have built one of the most comprehensive industry
设备等
systems.
全球市场份额领先。
Our 5G base stations and optical networks are now in a world-leading position.
全球占比
For 5G-related patents,
42%，
we have achieved 42% of the global volume. For converged application, We have also achieved a lot of accomplishments in order to enable various industries. We have over 110,000 innovative applications of 5G. For example, ports, mines. We are able to introduce 5G to inject new impetus to the development of the industries. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as the new round of technical revolution continues to grow, we are now facing a very precious opportunity. We will keep promoting the evolution of broadband networks and infrastructure and speed up the integration of the new technology into different industries in order to lay a solid foundation for economic development. We should also beef up the network capability. We will further extend the coverage of 5G as well as the depth. So governments, transport hubs, medical institutions can all have access to 5G. In addition, we will further extend the coverage to suburban areas. We will take unified planning to cover the build-out of infrastructure in different places so that we are able to build a system covering multiple levels. We will also promote industry applications. We will develop new 5G applications and gigabit optical networks. We will keep working to promote the maturity and for key chipsets, key components, and the high-end meters and dashboards. We will go all out to make breakthroughs. We will also speed up the enablement on technology usage. We will promote the application 5G and the gigabit optical network so as to create value for industries like energy, government, and transport. We will run pilot projects so that we can have a more diversified product portfolio and more sound business model. And with efforts from all partners, we hope that we can build a very sound ecosystem. We will also promote international cooperation centering on technology, standards, and industry applications. We will work with governments, industry organizations, and enterprises. We will also actively share the useful experience so that we are able to build a very good atmosphere that boasts shared success. We will also share the bonus with others so that more people can enjoy the benefits of technology. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this event focuses on network evolution and the transition from telco to Techco. We hope that we can deliver broadband success. This event has provided a very good platform for you to exchange ideas. Hopefully, starting from this event, we will form very profound friendship. We can have more in-depth discussions and cement our partnership so that we can all make contribution to the development of broadband networks and also make our contribution to the economic transformation. In the end, I'd like to wish a very successful convening of the event, and I wish you all good health and prosperity. Thank you.
With our thanks again to Yunming for that speech. The WBBA is driven by the desire to share knowledge and best practices from wherever they may come. So we look forward to hearing more about the kinds of success and experience that the Minister is able to share with the WBBA in the future. On an earlier slide, I talked about the kind of the genesis of the WBBA and the fact that it was established in the middle of 2021. And there was no small part of that establishment that was inspired and motivated by the kind of work that was led at the ITU at the time by its Secretary General then, Zhao Houlin. And I'm delighted now to be able to welcome him onto the stage at today's Broadband Development Congress.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Minister Zhang Yunming, Mr. Ruiwen, Chairman of China Telecom, Mr. Zhang, Chairman of China Tower, Mr. Zhengmao, Chairman of WBBA, and Martin Creaner, Director General of WBBA. And I should not forget to also name Lara, Dewar, Chief Marketing Officer of GSMA. Dear friends, dear colleagues, good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be present at the WBBA BDC 1 year after the official registration. I'm also delighted to witness the impressive achievements that the WBBA has accomplished in this past year. And I would like to extend my sincere congratulations on this. Along with a new round of technological revolution and industrial transformation, we are seeing rapid development in the digital economy. This is especially built upon cloud and broadband, which are crucial information infrastructure supporting the digitalization, networking, and intelligent transformation of our economies and societies. The development of broadband and cloud technologies has thus drawn great attention worldwide, with some countries even elevating the importance of network construction and application to the national strategic level. Thanks to the information and communication technologies, including 5G, optical communications, and broadband access, nearly 1 billion people navigated through the COVID-19 pandemic by connecting to the internet and benefit. However, we should not overlook the unconnected population of 2.7 billion people residing in impoverished and remote regions of developing countries. We have the responsibility and obligation to help them access the benefits and opportunities offered by the new generation of information and communication technologies as soon as possible. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Guterres, has repeatedly called for achieving universal and affordable internet access for all by 2030, urging countries to further collaborate in eliminating digital poverty, bridging the digital divide, and enhancing the well-being of all humanity. While this is a noble mission, it is also a challenge, as the unconnected regions need a significant infrastructure investment, but with minimal or even no return for the investment. Efforts and helps are required from all sectors of society. In this process, WBBA can play a crucial role. The development of information technologies and services over the past 2 decades owes much to the efforts of operators, manufacturers, and service providers. While enriching mobile communication services, they have sped up the construction of optical fiber communications and fixed broadband networks to rapidly connect rural areas and thus eliminate the digital divide. The accelerated construction of broadband networks and cloud computing is necessary, which relies on the joint efforts of policymakers, operators, manufacturers, and investors. WBBA, with rich experiences in the construction of broadband networks and cloud computing, can aggregate upstream and downstream industries in the industry chain, while collaborating with international organizations such as ITU and GSMA. In this way, the rational, fair, efficient, and economic use of resources will be available to meet new technological and business requirements. Through the guidance highlighted by 4 I's, I'm very pleased with the promotion of WBBA to these 4 I's. I launched as early as I started my term as Secretary General of ITU in 2015, which means infrastructure. I put the infrastructure first. We need a strong infrastructure. And then we need investment. We need innovation. And we have to also include inclusiveness. We can promote the coordinated development of broadband and cloud-related industries, especially in poverty-stricken regions. The establishment of WBBA by companies such as China Telecom, Swisscom, Huawei, Nokia, and others is commendable. Many members of WBBA enjoy a high reputation worldwide. They have a rich experience in the cloud network industry and exhibit enthusiasm and capability for international cooperation. Coming together under a common goal, I believe we can facilitate the development of broadband and cloud computing and contribute to making a better world. WBBA is a promising platform, yet it is still in its infancy. We need to seize every opportunity to raise the voice of the industry, their concerns, and their requests. Truthfully represent them, deliver tangible results, and win their trust and support. We also need to broaden our mind and thought and expand our membership base, making WBBA a bigger and a stronger platform to better fulfill its role. I wish this conference a complete success. I wish WBBA a great development. I wish that everyone can connect to the internet in the near future, sooner rather than later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zhao, Houlin, for those words which continue to inspire the vision and mission of the WBBA. Now, we're in the room here this afternoon to enjoy BDC Barcelona, but we're in this city this week to enjoy the GSMA's Mobile World Congress, which means perhaps the busiest person in the whole of the city across all of this week is the GSMA's Chief Marketing Officer. So it's with our thanks and appreciation that I'd now like to welcome on stage Lara Dewar.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. It's a real pleasure. And Dr. Li Zhengmao, thank you for your invitation to participate. It's very kind of you. I know you are all also very busy, but I hope that some of you have had the chance to take a walk through the halls of MWC over the last 2 days. For those of you that have, I think you will agree with me. The technology on display is breathtaking. From the world's first flying car to the latest in AI, health, and sustainability. It is abundantly clear that we're living in the next technological revolution, with digital transformation taking place across every sector. As we navigate our way towards a better and more sustainable world for everyone, I truly believe that forums like MWC Barcelona are crucial in bringing together leaders and stakeholders from across industries to share ideas, challenges, and innovations, and to work towards unleashing the full power of connectivity for everyone. Today, mobile broadband networks cover 95% of the world's population, serving 5.6 billion unique customers, and 5G is the fastest growing mobile technology in history. With each new generation of connectivity, we open the doors to even greater opportunities. And the mobile industry has become an incredible enabler of societies, industries, and frankly, of our collective future. As connectivity becomes more deeply embedded in every aspect of our daily lives, it is clear that meeting customer demands requires increasingly complex solutions. And those will only be achieved by working together. As an industry, we are in the next phase of growth, transforming from telco companies to future-facing telco communications companies. And as we do this, we need to ensure that we continue to work across industries and together with hyperscalers and developers, so that we can build a strong digital ecosystem that will benefit operators, industries, and consumers everywhere. Last year, we are very proud to have launched GSMA Open Gateway with a vision to unlock the full potential of 5G networks and to build a unified ecosystem for the mobile industry, for cloud service providers and developers. And in just 12 months, we have achieved significant growth. Today, I'm delighted that almost 240 operators representing 65% of the world's mobile communications connections have joined the Open Gateway. Those include China Mobile, China Telecom, and China Unicom, and it's been truly inspiring to watch this initiative take off around the world. And I think we are definitely on to something here. Together, we have a chance to build a deep ecosystem for innovation across industries, unlocking the value of 5G and bringing the benefits of connectivity to everyone. As we lead the way into the future, our strength as an industry will come from our ability to unite, to collaborate, and to work across industries. This week, we expect over 95,000 people at MWC. And if you promise to keep it a secret in this room, I suspect we'll be at 100,000 people. Over 50% of those come from outside the mobile ecosystem. So while our world may be more fractured than ever, these numbers give me great hope for the power of connectivity to bring us together again. And today, I'm delighted to be signing the MOU with the World Broadband Association. It is an explicit demonstration of our collective commitment to collaboration to ensure that the transformational power of mobile and the cloud ecosystem will benefit economies and societies around the world. Whilst I can't stay because we are the host of MWC this afternoon, I do appreciate being here. I hope that you have a successful session, and I hope to see many of you over the course of the week in the halls at MWC. And of course, I have to, because I'm the Chief Marketing Officer, also mention that I expect to see you in Shanghai in June. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lara. If I can maybe just invite Martin Creaner, Director General of the World Broadband Association, to join us on stage to participate with Lara in the MOU agreement signing that Lara referenced in her speech.
While they're just setting up the table there, I might say a few very brief words about this MOU. And as Mark alluded to just when we were talking about this, the reason the WBBA was set up was primarily because the GSMA is such a good organization and has serviced the mobile industry so well. And the question was asked, can anything there service the fixed industry as equally well? And so that's why we have created a WBBA, and we're absolutely delighted and honored to be signing an MOU with the GSMA. The future is, of course, a blend of fixed and mobile. It's no genius to see that. And we want, through this MOU, to be able to work together so that we can help address the challenges of the world and the opportunities of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Lara, and thank you, Martin, for signaling that latest milestone in the development of the World Broadband Association. We're now moving into the keynote section of today's agenda. And I mentioned on an earlier slide about the need to chart the path from telco to techco. How and why we should be considering that transformation as an industry is going to be the focus of our first keynote speech. So it's my very great privilege to welcome onto the stage now the Chairman and Chief Executive of China Telecom, Ruiwen.
尊敬的赵厚林秘书长
Your Excellency Zhao Houlin,
李尊茂先生和马丁先生，
Dr. Zhengmao and Martin. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be part of the WBBA BDC Summit in Barcelona this year. We have shared with partners around the world about network evolution and telco to Techco transformation, delivering broadband success. On behalf of China Telecom, I would like to congratulate on the successful convening of the summit. As the scientific and technological revolution and the industry transformation accelerate, digital technologies such as AI, cloud computing, big data, and quantum information are developing rapidly. New technologies and applications represented by general AI are emerging, giving rise to a large number of new scenarios, new business forms, and new models. We are now standing at a critical point. As we take a look back at the industry development, every change in user demand and industry can bring important opportunities for the transformation and development of operators. The application of digital technologies and IP technologies mean that we are able to monetize the traffic and voice traffic. We have achieved the economic growth on scale. With the development of cloud computing technologies, many companies seized the opportunity and achieved rapid growth. Some telcos seized the opportunity to open up a new channel and have formed new momentum. We are now standing at a new round of technical revolution, represented by AI and intelligence. We must speed up to adapt to the new demands in the new round of tech revolution. China Telecom uses innovation as the core of the business. We have built an RDO scientific and innovation system. We focus on cloud network convergence, AI, security, and quantum. In recent years, China Telecom has continuously increased its investment in scientific and technical evolution. Our investment in R&D is growing at a double-digit rate. We are also attracting more talent to join us. The proportion of R&D personnel exceeds 10%. With our concerted efforts, scientific and technological innovation has become an important impetus to the growth of high development. And we have achieved a lot of accomplishments. We have upgraded our links. We have successfully deployed the 10G PON optical networks. We are also actively piloting the 50G PON technology. We have built the industry's largest gigabit optical network. We have covered over 99% admin villages. We have also been actively sharing key technologies. We have built the world's largest 5G SA networks. We have built this together with China Unicom. We have also completed the building of the first zero-carbon DC in China, so all the green electricity can be produced and traced back. By focusing on technologies like cloud network convergence, we have built the first direct connection to satellite services. We have also built the world's largest quantum all-domain network. We are also in a leading position in terms of the customer base. We focus on cloud technologies and are actively utilizing the computing technologies. We develop cloud technologies and optimize the technology layout. With these efforts, we are able to build a public intelligent computing center where parallel computing is possible. We have also focused on emerging technologies. The e-cloud has already grown to be the largest cloud in China, and also the largest hybrid cloud. It has the #1 market share, and it is also in the leading position of the public cloud market. We have also been speeding up the upgrading of applications. We research and have deployed the new generation of cloud network services covering different levels and different geographies. Our Zhang platform uses large bandwidth, low latency, and high reliability DCI networks. So we are able to make the most of the heterogeneous infrastructure. In this way, we are able to do computing, processing, data flow, and transaction across different domains. We focus on the development of key technologies related to AI. We have built the Xingchen large model with hundreds of billions of parameters. We have also built our offerings in multimodal. We launched the mass ecosystem platform where customization is possible. We have the general version and the more tailor-made version. We have been actively promoting the combination of cloud, network, AI in order to better meet the needs of traditional industries. So education, emergency, transport, and altogether 12 industries now have the industry-specific large models, and we have been actively reshaping the digital platform. We have been working very actively on key technologies so that we are able to build the next generation digital infrastructure covering connectivity, cloud, and security. Network and connectivity is the foundation, and connectivity is to provide better information services, and more inclusive cloud computing is required. The architecture will be reshaped in the future. In order to narrow the digital divide, we should not only look at the connectivity, instead we should also look at the introduction of cloud technologies and AI. When Mr. Zhao Houlin was the Secretary General of ITU, he initiated the formulation of WBBA with the purpose of promoting the prosperity of cloud networks. Previously, I also talked to Ms. Dolin and other colleagues from ITU. We have reached the agreement that WBBA must stay in line with the goals set out by the United Nations, so that people of different countries can share the benefits of the new technology. As one of the initiators of the WBBA, here I hope that the WBBA can fully utilize its role as 3 platforms. First, resource sharing platform. WBBA should serve as a bridge and help different geographies access the funding and play an active role in mitigating or bridging the digital divide. Second, we need to make the most of our leadership in cloud network convergence. We need to set out the evolution path and promote the infrastructure to become more secure and greener. Third, we need to build a better ecosystem to strengthen cooperation across the field. Experience should be actively shared between different partners so that together we can build an open and collaborative ecosystem where the benefits of technology can be shared by all. Ladies and gentlemen, looking ahead, we will continue to work with partners around the world to seize the opportunity brought about by the technical revolution. We will keep investing in new technologies and make our contribution to the prosperity of the cloud network convergence. and also contribute our share to higher quality economic growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruiwen. I thought the slide with the 3 platforms there was a very great way of encapsulating the way that we as the WBBA can help to drive industry development through those 3 points on the slide: collaboration, cooperation, and innovation. Continuing our look at broadband network evolution, I'd now like to welcome on stage WBBA founder, member, and key contributor, the CTO and head of strategy for fixed networks at Nokia, Andrew Bender.
So first, Chairman Dr. Li Zhengmao, membership, organizers, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today. I will be sharing our global perspectives as Nokia on the industry progress of broadband adoption. It is true that it is an exciting time in the broadband world, and I'll be offering some comments related to that today. First, one aspect of the exciting progress that we've had in broadband adoption is a multi-gigabit technology standard called XGS-PON, which we see as being a new global venue for connecting subscribers and providing services that bridge the digital divide. This continues the heritage of optical technology that we use for broadband that succeeds GPON as a global standard. This is a picture of the progress from 2021, where there were at that time, known to us, 80 deployments of service providers adopting the XGS-PON technology. There's a spectrum here between early adopters and mass adoption. And as we look forward into 2023, the year 2023, near doubling of the amount of service providers, the number of service providers who have taken on board a multi-gigabit solution for optical broadband in XGS-PON. In fact, many of the analysts that we work with within the industry tell us that this is the highest growth technology where we see port counts, deployments, and so forth. Really, this is representative of the opportunity that's represented, that exists in optical broadband, and we see this extending. So, as I mentioned, the GPON 2.5 gigabit technology has been succeeded by a 10G class standard that paves the way for a multi-gigabit experience and set of applications that will provide capabilities for both consumers, for enterprises, for businesses, for institutions now and into the future. But we haven't stopped there. We've seen in the last year, in fact, great progress of going beyond 10 gigabits. One of the drivers for this is the technology platforms that we see for the last meter. Now, many devices in the network are connecting not by Ethernet, but by Wi-Fi. Emerging standards in Wi-Fi have now become commercially adopted with Wi-Fi 7 in the progression from Wi-Fi 6 related standards, so-called 802.11be. This is now the key choice, or will be the basis of future connectivity. Products we see in the market are supporting up to 24 gigabits of performance in that last meter connection. Therefore, there's an opportunity to go beyond 10 gigabits to pave the way for future applications and more capacity. I'll talk about some of those cases coming up here. With the 25G technology, early adoption, we have 9 customers within Nokia who have taken the step to go beyond 10 gig class services, who are paving the way in future services, and many trials underway as well. This, we believe, represents the appetite for future services and the progression of this technology. But in fact, there are many other steps beyond this as well. So I mentioned 10 gig class services, XGS-PON, as being the high growth area of broadband where we've seen the doubling. And the adoption, the mass adoption is occurring. In fact, in 2023, we believe that'll be a crossover point for us as a supplier in terms of new port shipments, eclipsing what we have in GPON on the network side, getting ready for these 10G class services. With 25G, we've now seen a step where a major global operator, a number of major global operators, in fact, have committed to this technology, proving that there is demand, even in the consumer space, to deploy this technology. Beyond that, there's work that we are supporting and participating in the ITU to develop technical standards around a 50G platform for PON. That's being finalized now from a standards perspective for symmetrical services. We see trials beginning this year and next, and commercial adoption beyond that, mass adoption later. But we're not stopping there. In fact, in the ITU and at Nokia as well, we're also looking at the path to 100G and services beyond that as well. So we've been able to conduct so far technical demonstrations of this path, really telling us that 50G is not the end of the road for this progression. So there's a proven pathway here and a pipeline of innovation, I would say, for broadband access and connectedness that will serve us well into the future over at least the next 10 years. When we talk about the digital divide and the need to provide connectedness, the first and best choice that we see in the fixed networks business at Nokia is fiber. That last meter will be wireless unlicensed Wi-Fi in many cases, supported by fiber. But when there is not a fixed network, mobility is often the answer. We heard from Lara about the progress of adoption and the implementation of mobile technology. But we also see, even for nations, even for locales, where fiberization has become complete. Spain, where we are today, is such an example. There is still a remainder of 10, maybe 15% of subscribers that will also require a multi-gigabit experience in order to not be underserved or suffer from the lack of economic development or opportunity that would result from not having this equity of service. So we've also been investing within Nokia's broadband business, within our fixed networks portfolio, to provide an answer for this part of the network. Prior to the advent of fixed wireless access, prior to the advent of fiber broadband, copper infrastructure has been used in many cases for broadband access. However, the limit of the conducted technology for copper networking has already been seen. The top threshold of service is around a gigabit, or in many cases, sub-gigabit performance. If the new standard for services, for businesses, for enterprises, for education, for remote healthcare is a gigabit class of service and applications that surround that, we need to provide technology platforms that make that possible. So fiber is one choice. It's a best first choice for multi-gigabit broadband, but the wireless network is the other. So we've made significant investments in 5G, and we've done that certainly as Nokia, but in the industry as well. We're seeing growing progress in the adoption of fixed wireless access, including millimeter wave bands, which provide the spectrum and the capacity to offer a multi-gigabit service that has parity with what is possible in optical broadband in many cases. So these enabling platforms, multi-gigabit service I've talked about many times, supports a model and a perspective that we call fiber for everything at Nokia. The idea here is that as fiber becomes pervasive, As this technology platform exists throughout the network and becomes the basis for economic development, consumer broadband is one of the applications, but is not the only application. So this means a fiber network that works in municipal environments and cities, that supports institutions, that supports government, that supports enterprise and industry, could be a common platform if we have adequate technological headroom in speed, which we've talked about, the progression from 10, 25, 50, 100, and beyond, but also other special technical requirements to enable vertical industries and special services. These include low latency operation, deterministic behavior, jitter. That's part of having a reliable network. Also, programmability becoming important. A lot of discussion today already about the rise of cloud and cloud-based applications as a key enabling component of future applications and usage. Really, the applications framework and the network have to work together. So having an addressable network that is software controlled is a key element of putting these technical capabilities to use. Once we've gotten to this step, we believe that there are other additional opportunities in the commercial world when we have a software addressable or software-defined network that we use for broadband of various uses. What's shown in the slide here is but a few examples of how broadband networks can serve vertical industries, can serve the broadband applications, but provide premium experiences that may be indirectly subsidized by content publishers, by game platforms, by media companies, and so forth. Enabling new technologies like virtual experiences, extended reality, augmented reality. This really, in order to be successful, depends on a deterministic network that can provide the technical capabilities for an experience that will keep customers consuming, coming back, and pleased with the services that we're providing them. And the last aspect, one of the most interesting ones, is how we apply this technology to industry. As fiber becomes pervasive, we now see that the mobile network, the fixed network will intersect, and they'll become partners with each other. And therefore, these technical capabilities will be used for operations technology, industrial control, mobile transport, front haul and back haul. We've demonstrated that this fiber broadband network that we're building can be used for all of these things. This supports the business case for profit-seeking enterprises. The conventional wisdom has been with broadband that residential broadband consumer access has driven the business case for fiberization, the implementation of this technology. But as we add these new capabilities to a pervasive network, meaning it is everywhere where you might want to provide service or access customers, there's also new revenue opportunities, higher value services for enterprise, for industry, and so forth. We've done some work with McKinsey, an analyst firm serving our space, to look at the consumption patterns of business, the willingness to pay, and what this means for the business of operators in general. And we see potential 2x upside of revenue being driven from services of this sort. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention today, and I wish us success and partnership in defining the frontier of optical broadband.
Thank you, Andrew. Partway through that presentation, Andrew was good enough to share with us Nokia's view on the technology pathway there that it sees to 10 gig and beyond. I do want to just use that as a segue to just promote the fact that the WBBA's own research on broadband technology roadmaps and frameworks is available to download. You do have a QR code on the back of today's agenda. There's also an opportunity to participate in a survey to let us know how you're finding the event, what you would like to see at future events, and also to inquire about free membership of the WBBA. To look now at inspiring new growth opportunities, I'm delighted to welcome onto the stage the WBBA founder member and key supporter, President of the Datacom product line at Huawei, Mr. Leon Wang.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And my name is Leon, and I'm very glad to meet you in this beautiful city, Barcelona. Today, the topic I will share is bring the Net 5.5G into reality and inspire the growth of the carrier. Now, first, in recent years, I have discussed with many carriers and of the CTO, especially some of the TCOs. And also, they told me that they hope there will be a new killer applications that are emerging. Then they can provide new services for their customers, and then to get more revenue for their business. And in fact, the killer applications is coming. And we can see that two of them, the one is the immersive terminals, and the other is the AI applications. In the consumer market, and we all know that with the newest the MR terminals, we can see that it can provide about the 8K VOD with 2S. It will need bandwidth more than 240 megabits. And it even can provide the 3D model creating ability. And it will exceed the bandwidth more than 800 megabits. And this means that in a few years later, the per terminal speed will exceed 1 gigabit. Another thing that happens that in the enterprise market, we can see that from the Gartner predict, in about 2026, about 80% of the enterprise customers will accept AIGC. And for the AIGC, we all know the newest information that the OpenAI, it released the Sora. And the Sora can create the HD video with only very simple text. And I have seen some HD videos that are created by the Sora. It is really give me a very deep impression. But the Sora, the HD video, more and more the HD video will really to expand the bandwidth of the access of the carriers. And another example is for the autonomous driving. One customer of the car factory, it has to lead the autonomous driving every day. It will need to upload about 160 byte data to their computing center. For the carrier network, it can't provide very efficiency, or the price is proper for them to upload all these data. These are all both the opportunities and also the challenge for the carriers. And in fact, in current, most of the carriers network in the world, the bandwidth is not enough. We can see for the broadband, it is most of the broadband of home is less than 100 megabits. And so the access network is less than 10 gig. But just now I have mentioned that the MR, that the newest applications, the terminals will exceed 1 gigabit. So the mobile station will then more than 10 gig, and the access network will be more than 100 gig. This is the trend. Another thing is just now for the AI training. The AI training, if we really use the 10 gig, that the private LAN for the enterprise customers, it will be too expensive. It will exceed more than $10,000 a year, a month. And if we use the gigabit Ethernet, but it will be too slow. To upload all the data, just now I mentioned, it will need more than 1 or 2 weeks. This is what our current situation. So after the discussion of the many industries and also the organizations, they agree the network should be upgraded to satisfy the new killer applications and also the AI trend. And they call it the Net 5.5G. The infrastructure of Net 5.5G, you can see it includes 4 parts. The first is the 410 gig. And the network, the access at bandwidth will upgrade to the 10 gig mobile broadband, the 10 gig home broadband, and the 10 gig enterprise campus, and also the 10G private LAN. So then the barrier network will upgrade to 400G, and together with the SRv6 and also the digital map to release for the autonomous driving for the network. For the data center, you know, the current data center is only 100G, and it can support the IT data services and also the cloud services. In the future, it will really be the AI data center, and it will upgrade to 400G and 800G. Then, for the end-to-end management, the traditional management can't be used, because for the traditional management platform, it can only use the management functions. But in the future, for this end-to-end, the net 5.5G, it must need the digital map. And the digital map can not only to manage the end-to-end network, but also to optimize and analyze the network. Then the first we can see the net 5.5G backhaul, that mobile. We can see, just now I mentioned, because the access that different terminals will upgrade to 10G, and access network should be 100G. And also, the bandwidth is not only thing. The experience, in these days, I have discussed with many carriers. They called me, they really care about the experience. I can give an example that for the backhaul of the South Africa that carrier, in their backhaul, there's always a packet loss. And at first, they use the manual method for optimization. They use several times and also, they use many times and also many people, but the result is not very good. And there's still packet loss. The SRA is not very good. Then they use the digital map. They use digital map, then not only they can see where the error happens, and inside, not only the link, but the tunnels and also the applications. And then it can automatically to optimize that work. And the result is that the carrier release the suppression of the traffic about 2,000 mobile stations. And the DOU is increased, and also the revenue is increased. The second is that for the converged transport. Just now I have introduced the 410G access will need a barrier network will be end-to-end the 400G. But in fact, most of the carrier has different independent network for the backhaul, for the home broadband, and for the private LAN. And if we upgrade each network into the 400G, it will be too expensive. So the next step is to converge the network into a one, and then to provide different services in this network. And one of the biggest units Europe that the carriers has used this solution, the Telefonica. And it has built an end-to-end 400G that converge network, the IP network, and provide many new services for their revenue that in this network. And it also uses a digital map to manage network, and also with the slicing that ability and the technology for their private network that for the enterprise customers, and bring them a new opportunity for business. Then for the data center. In fact, for Huawei, we have collaborated a lot with the China Telecom, and especially for the AI data center. And we all believe that in the future, that AI computing power releasing is one of the best business model that for carriers. But when we work together, we found three important things for building an efficient AI data center for the net 5.5G. Because you know, in the cloud era, that the OTT run faster, a little faster than the carriers. But for the AI era, we are in the same line. How to build an efficient data center than the OTT is an important thing. So we found there are three important factors. The first is to build the AI cluster that very quickly. So we together to provide a solution about the plug and play that solution. And the second is that how to avoid the interruption. You know, the current situation for the AI training always has the interruption. Even the Meta, the Facebook, It has interruption of AI training every 3 days. How to avoid this? And we also, together with China Telecom, to develop the solutions of the digital map. We can to detect and also solve the problem very quickly. And then we can keep the AI training about more than 1 or 2 months for the continuous AI training. The third thing is that with the same GPU servers, how to release all the computing power that for the carriers, and then to support it to all the enterprise customers. And perhaps, I think in future, the consumer market will also use the AI service from the carrier. And for Huawei, we together with China Telecom will, with the NSLB, that the solutions, it can really increase the ability of computing for AI about 20%. Since the Net 5.5G was proposed, and all the industry agree with it, and recognize its importance. Last year, I had discussed with Martin, last year, the WBBA have built the work group 4 to promote the Net 5.5G progress. And this year, in June, in China, and the WBBA will also announce the newest white paper and the first release of the Net 5.5G. And let us work together and to bring the Net 5.5G into reality and inspire the new growth of carrier. Thank you.
Thank you, Leon, and thank you for that timely reminder on the final slides about people's ability to access the working group research via the WBBA website, and we'd encourage you all to do so. Now, taking a look at the technology trends that we might expect to see over the coming year and how we as an industry might want to respond to them, I'm very delighted to welcome to the stage Managing Director and Global Lead Innovation for Comms, Media and Technology at Accenture, Brian J. Smyth.
Hello. It's wonderful to be with you all here today to discuss Accenture's Technology Vision 2024. So the Technology Vision is actually an annual publication that we published for the last 2 decades or so. And it's been a remarkably accurate predictor of the trends that you'll see. And it's informed indeed by the work we do with innovative organizations like all of your member organizations. So I think a lot of the trends that you'll see here today, you'll be familiar with. And I think the exciting thing is, as an industry, you're powering these trends. A little bit about me. This is where I work. It's in Dublin, Ireland, and it's Accenture's Global R&D Center. We do a lot of work cross-industry, but specifically in the comms area, looking at the application of new technology and looking at the human implication of that technology. If we consider, I suppose, and we look back a bit where we've come from, where are we in the scale of technology and the exponential trends? Well, we started with the PC era. We then moved into internet, mobile phone, and cloud. And indeed, if you consider the number of broadband connections. In AI, what we see here is this S-curve. The interesting call-out is how fast these S-curves are becoming. So if you look back at the PC era, to really reach peak, it took about 30 years or so. Where today, the pace of acceleration that we're moving at is something entirely different. Whether that's dollars being spent, whether it's number of billions of parameters built in LLMs, the whole AI and generative AI movement over the last 18 months has really injected a sense of speed and urgency into the market. And I think you're living it, you're breathing it, and we're seeing it here as the big topic in Barcelona this year. But of course, there's always been skepticism about any new technology. When the printing press emerged, famously it said, writing will create forgetfulness in learners' souls. When electricity came, the Victorians said there is no safety, and indeed death lurks all around us. Even the telephone itself, when it was initially uncovered, preachers in Sweden said it was the instrument of the devil. And then as soon as 2008, as recently as that, The Atlantic was publishing magazine headlines like this. is Google making us stupid? So there's always been a lot of concern about technology, and indeed we see that today with generative AI. There's questions and headlines, will AI take all our jobs? Will it be harmful for society? And that's why responsibility around the topic is so incredibly important. And indeed, if you think of the work you're doing and the standards that you're driving in organizations like this and others, it's incredibly important to consider, sharing best practice. How do we build responsibility so that, it can be a positive force? Because let's take a reflection and take a step back and think about actually the really positive impact technology has had on humanity over the last number of decades. Of course, there's our digital economy, powered by connectivity and the work that you do. That's really brought forward the GDP of the entire Earth. If we think about life expectancy, the incredible technological advancements in drug discovery and delivery, we now see global life expectancy at 71 years versus 29, and we're seeing a huge increase in the literacy rate. And I was really delighted to see the work that's being done, particularly around accessibility in China today in telecom that you shared there. And we need that across the world to ensure we are reaching those people who are not connected so they can enjoy the benefits of this. But this AI, of course, is getting remarkably intelligent year on year. At the start of my career in the early days, I did some work for an organization, and they had a lot of paper inside of the organization, a lot of customers writing in, and who'd completed paper-based forms. And we were doing optical character recognition, OCR, so we'd scan the paper and it would digitize it. So that was kind of advanced technology at the time, that we could begin to digitize what humans were writing. But as you can see from this chart here, what we're seeing now is not only is AI good at handwriting, speech recognition, and image recognition, it's really getting good into reading comprehension, language understanding. We're getting into grade school math, high school math, right through to code generation. And indeed, this chart now is a couple of months old. If I was to present it today, it's advanced even since then. When we look at the kind of tools like GitHub Copilot and what we're seeing emerge from OpenAI, Sora was mentioned earlier in terms of video generation. This technology, for the first time ever, is becoming truly human-like. Previously, us humans had to adapt to the technology and learn this technology, but now what we're seeing is this technology is becoming more like us. So what creativity can it unleash? So technology is becoming more human, but us humans are also becoming more enhanced by technology. I'm sure many of you have smart watches, you have connected devices, wearables, health devices. So we're enhancing ourselves as humans with technology. And all of this is really about driving more productivity and more creativity. And that's the thing I'd love you to reflect on today, is how can our advancements in this space unleash more creativity? There is a temptation and a very understandable need to focus on driving short-term business results, optimization, efficiency. That is real, and it's happening today in your organizations. And what I would challenge you to consider is, how can you harness this capacity that is now being generated as a result of these technologies to unleash that creativity inside of your organization, to ensure that the next wave of new ideas can be even accelerated and delivered even faster. Here's just an example of some of the industries, again, and consider the work you're doing in sort of the broadband industry, powering, in healthcare settings such as, remote assisted and AR assisted surgery in hospital environment. We're seeing smart retail as well here, reimagining trying on clothes virtually at home and then ordering them online. You'll see Jensen Wang there in terms of deep fakes. That was a video he made to say actually how easy it is to do deep fakes. And we have a lot of elections happening globally this year across the world. We're seeing a lot of deep fake technology. Automobile accidents. How can we reduce deaths on the road through this technology? AI can power and really enhance us. A number of my colleagues are actually working with a state in Florida, And true AI can actually enable crash predictions and reductions in number of harmful incidents on the road. They can actually drive changes in behavior and nudge drivers to be more safe at opportunistic times to prevent those accidents. So it's a really exciting time for this technology, and it's changing our society very, very rapidly. So what does this mean for business? And we did a global survey 6 months ago of over 3,000 C-suite globally, and what we found was that generative AI, 87% of recipients said generative AI would disrupt their business in the next 5 years. Arguably, I think the question should have been, will it disrupt your business in the next 12 months rather than 5 years? And what it's doing is it's reinventing every part of business today. It's also redefining industry leaders. I mean, if you look at the S&P 500 index, 50% of companies that were there 20 years ago no longer exist. So this pace of change is real, and it's happening fast. And last point is this ability to unleash the human potential. If you can drive those enhancements and optimization in your business, how can you unlock the creativity? I was also really impressed to see the amount of investment in R&D that's going on in the industry right now. I still believe we need more. So again, how can we unleash this creativity to do more research and development to further enhance our offering and how we can serve customers? So to get to the vision, what we call it is human by design. So I talked about how humans are enhanced by technology and how technology itself ultimately is becoming more human-like. And this year, we have 4 specific trends, which I'm going to unpack a little bit right now. So our first trend, we call a match made in AI. And this is about really reshaping our relationship with technology. And the best example of this is the co-pilots that we're all using to service and support the work we do, make us more efficient, make us smarter. The second is actually meet my agent. And this is the next evolution of this, where we begin to truly build ecosystems of AI and chatbots. So actually, the human is not always needed in the loop. Today, we know with hallucinations, we cannot always fully trust generative AI. Where we're moving to very rapidly is a world where the accuracy of it greatly increases and the AI can begin to truly act on our behalf and service us. Our third trend, and I'm going to go into these in a little bit more detail, is the space we need. And I was delighted to see in the Nokia presentation, the VR headset and what Apple are doing in terms of spatial computing. I believe lots of new use cases will be unlocked as that technology becomes more mainstream. And then finally, our body's electronic. And this is, again, using technology to supplement and enhance our bodies, and a whole new realm of wearable devices emerging on the market. And what's interesting with these devices is they're actually challenging the handset and the mobile phone. I don't think the mobile phone's going to be displaced anytime soon. But what we are seeing is a whole new range of new devices powered by Gen AI, natively Gen AI, unlocking new capabilities. In Accenture, we've done about 700 generative AI projects globally across our client base, and there's a couple of big learnings that we have. But today, I just wanted to focus on 2. So the first is, I suppose, the value gap, we're calling it today, is that this technology is powerful, but to really drive value and realize value from it, it needs to operate outside of the silo. There's a lot of organizations that have implemented generative AI in a specific team or in a specific function. And yes, it's doing interesting things there, but where the real power is unlocked is when it's scaled across the enterprise. And 2023 was really a year of sort of education and experimentation. Where we're quickly moving to now is scaling this technology across the entire organization. It's not easy to do, and it often involves changing roles and leadership and operating models, but that's how you really truly unlock the power from it. So I think moving outside of that silos. But of course, in order to do that, the other gap is the data readiness gap. So ensuring that you have the right data in the right places, that it's accessible, it's incredibly important. Our second trend here, which is the ecosystems of AI that I talked about. And here you're seeing a financial advisor advise someone provide advice to a customer through new technology, where we assign agents tasks on our behalf. A great example here, and I don't know if you've heard about it, is this service, Do Not Pay. It's a generative AI service that will actually look for issues in billing and automatically contact your service provider. So it could be a telecoms company, and will actually query anything that maybe is not correct within your bill. You know, in what we see in the telecoms market is a lot of churn, with customers changing for better value, better rates elsewhere. Imagine a world where your generative AI assistant will be able to go and do this for you and begin to get the best deal on the market. And you won't no longer have to even apply online or share documents, or, you know, right now, there's a certain level of effort associated in switching. We're moving rapidly to a world where your personal assistant automatically signs contracts and provisions services and does deals on your behalf. So I think considering how our organizations adapt to that is important. The space we need, I talked about, you know, spatial computing being a big focus area for Apple. This is actually a product that we built with one of our Accenture venture investments. They're called TouchCast, and it's a virtual telecom store. But the agent you see here is actually just at home on a laptop using a webcam and enhanced by a fully VR, a fully virtual background. The customer here in this instance can really see products up close, get a full tour, and have a much more intimate conversation rather than traditional telephone support. So I think that's a really interesting model, whether it's for consumer sales, for SMB. Think about the products and services that you offer and how you can reach your customers in new ways. And then our very last trend is our body's electronic. We've seen probably the humane pin. I think this is really interesting in the telecoms industry because we've sort of had the evolution of the handset over the last, 30 or 40 years in terms of mobile phones. But we're rapidly moving to a new space where there's a new class of devices that are empowering us. This pendant here, it's called Rewind AI, is really interesting. It records every single conversation that you have. So it's constantly recording 24/7, 365. So you can replay any moment of your life and through a generative AI interface, query that. So we're moving very quick. I talked about our 4 trends. Ultimately, this is about continuous reinvention. And what I would encourage you to do is really lead with value, transform your talent, build a digital core, and close the trust gap. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. I think continuous reinvention is a mantra that we could all follow. And some really great creative and practical examples of the use of technology innovation there. And also a good reminder regarding the responsibility that we all have in this room and as the WBBA to use technology innovation to enable socio-economic benefits for all. As you may have guessed by the activity to my side here, we're moving into a fireside chat now, where we are going to be discussing some of the key findings from recent research working groups that the WBBA has been focusing on. And to join us on stage to talk about why that research is important, what it really means, and how you, the audience, should think about using it. I'd like to welcome on stage Martin Creaner, Director General of the WBBA. Marcus Brunner, Chief Expert Standardization from Huawei and Chair of the WBBA's Generational Roadmap Working Group. And Kevin Hasley, Vice President Strategic Initiatives from Ookla and Chair of the WBBA's Broadband Advocacy Working Group.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. And as Mark has said, one of the core pieces of work that the WBBA does is collaborative work between our members to tackle problems of common interest. And what we're going to do today is talk about 2 key pieces of work, two substantial white papers that are going to be published today from the WBBA collaboration programs from Work Group 1 and 2. Before we talk about that, I'll just say a few words about some of the other collaborative work that we're doing, and then we'll come to the 2 white papers. WBBA has got 5 existing collaborative activities. One of those activities is around sustainability and how broadband impacts the sustainability of our planet and how we can improve the sustainability capability and performance of broadband through a wide range of activities. And that team is developing a white paper on that topic. The work group, we have another work group looking at the merging of the cloud and technology and network environment. And that one is very relevant, and a number of presentations today really touched on that, both in terms of how cloud and network are seamless and need to be viewed as one thing rather than as separate beasts, but also about what this working group is looking at is that whole end-to-end story that Leon was talking about, where you can have your campus is moving from 1 gig to 10 gig, and your bearer network is moving to 400 gig, but your data center is also moving to 400 gig. So you've got that seamless nature. And then the third work group that isn't on stage today is looking at developing a broadband and cloud development index. And Dr. Lee mentioned that in his opening speech, but it's very important. It's an index that ranks countries across the world in terms of their broadband and cloud. So those are the working groups that aren't on the stage here today. But today we do have the Generational Roadmap Working Group, which is chaired by Marcus, and we have the Broadband Advocacy Work Group, which is chaired by Kevin. And we are launching the work of those groups. So first of all, I'll turn to Marcus. And could you say a few words about what the working group is working on in general and specifically what it's launching today?
Thanks, Martin. Yeah, the working group is basically looking in general terms in the roadmap of all the different technologies, when what technologies will come and things like that. So that's a general term. So for the last few months, we looked in a very detailed, specific topics, and that's on gigacities. So gigacities we have been chosen because we believe the gigacity or the cities as such, they need to move as well. And some of the policies and some of the technologies are made for countrywide scenarios. So we believe we need to have a spot on the city as such. So what we did is basically looking in different example cities. There are a few use cases in that report. We have looked into the numbers of that cities, so like how much bandwidth they get on a per city level, thanks to Ookla data on that. So that's where we collaborate quite heavily on that. And then we basically derive what we call different criterias when a city is a gigacity, with different maturity levels, and we have different parameters in terms of like how many homes passed in terms of fiber deployment, how many schools are connected well, how many enterprise sites, government buildings, and so on are connected well. So those are the things we have done. And then naturally we start thinking a little bit, since we are a roadmap group, we start thinking a little bit about the 10 gigacity.
Okay. Well, I mean, and so watch this space, because 10 gigacities might come along, and based on the presentations we heard, maybe it comes along sooner than we imagine. But I think it's also a great example of what you talk about. Kevin is from Ookla, Marcus from Huawei, but there's many other companies who've been involved in the discussions, in building the stories on those white papers, and that level of collaboration is really useful. I'll just turn to you, Kevin, to talk about the Broadband Advocacy Group, in particular what you're launching today, the Broadband Investment Guidebook.
Yeah, I think the most important thing to take away from advocacy is the title of who we are from a work group standpoint. We communicate the needs of broadband worldwide, and so that's really very important. The first white paper that we released was Demands and Trends. So taking a look at where are the supply side, where is demand side, and what's happening in the marketplace, and where do we really need to see the broadband grow. The second white paper we're releasing today is more about okay, then how do you do the investment in broadband? What to look for? Show some examples out there in the marketplace of successful investments across the world. And really what we're providing is a toolkit to take a look at, okay, if you're thinking about growing the broadband, as you see so many people communicating the importance of the speeds, the broadband growth, the acceleration of Nokia and what they're doing, you're going to see major investment needs across the world. So what we provide is a simplified toolkit to understand what those are and take examples of how to do it on your own in your own countries.
Yeah, I mean, I think that everybody in this room is going to be interested if we can better communicate not just the need for broadband, but go to another level below that in terms of what are the mechanisms in terms of government supply side incentives, demand side incentives, direct, indirect, and so on. And I think all of that that's in this guidebook is going to be proved to be really valuable. But where's it going to go? Where next on that?
Yeah, this is just a first phase of many toolkits that we're going to provide around the investment standpoint. So what we looked at first was setting the baseline worldwide and use that and apply it to yourself and apply it to your country. The next thing we're looking at is really digging into regional spaces, America, North America, Africa, and really understand what's the layout? Where are the investment opportunities at? Is it public space? Is it government? Is it regulators? And so what we're looking at is to make sure that the next phase in our guidebook gets very specific so we could take examples. And we're going to promote that heavily in those spaces, and shows directly in those areas, whether it's North America and really where BEAD funding comes in, where the broadband labels come in, what FCC is doing, and share that examples because what North America may unlock on investment opportunities may apply to your country as well. And so that's where really that's going to help out in the next phase of the guidebook.
Yeah, excellent. And Marcus, you mentioned, maybe next stage is 10 gig a city. But there's also other discussions around metaverse and so on and the demand side. So what next for the work group?
Yeah, it's not decided.
Okay.
So I would like to welcome everybody here in the room who is joining WBBA, bring their topics onto the table. So currently the next steps, and I was already mentioned a little bit, exactly, so 10 gig a city is one aspect. If you do city, you might want to do a giga rural type of thing. Then we are discussing a lot with metaverse stakeholders in the whole metaverse technology area, whether we can align the roadmaps of these technologies, like the metaverse and the broadband roadmap, can do that together. And then one last thing where we believe today is sort of like the technology with fiber to the home and to the business and so on is there. I think we need to pay more attention to the next few meters, which is sort of in your homes, in your enterprises, in your institutions and so on. And looking there, like the road mapping of those type of technologies and ways forward could be a potential way forward for us as well.
Yeah, excellent. And we're going to have a launch ceremony for those two white papers. But it's also important to remember that Marcus is the chair of a working group. Kevin is the co-chair of his working group. The working groups are actually made up of lots of people contributing, arguing, providing ideas and bits of text and so on. And so it's open to everybody who's a member of the WBBA to participate in working groups. But as we do the launch of these white papers today, I would also welcome any of the working group members who are in the room with us today to join us on the stage so that you can participate in the launch also. So with that, what I'll do is I'll draw the conversation to an end. And Jenny, if we are going to have a launch ceremony or photograph. We'll just gather up some of the team members who happen to be in the rooms or people who've participated.
So let me take the opportunity for that, like just thanking everybody who has contributed to that white papers.
Absolutely.
And joining us on stage now are some of the other workgroup contributors who are in the room with us now. Salish Al-Subai, General Manager of STC, and Stephen Wilson, my Omdia colleague and Senior Principal Analyst. Those white papers are going to be available on the Knowledge Center, which you have a QR code for on your agenda at the push of a button. So I think we're going to do a brief countdown. Press the button and the white papers will be launched and available for you all. So if we say 3, 2, 1, let's go. So please do use the QR code that you see on the screen or on the back of your agenda leaflet to engage with the research, and as Marcus, Martin and Kevin encouraged, to join in the next phase of the research with us. Thank you. We're now moving to the panel discussion element of our agenda. And we've talked throughout the course of today's event about telco to techco transformation. And what we're going to be doing with the panelists over the course of the next 40 minutes or so is to, first of all, try to understand, why is it so important to the future growth of operators? And then we'll seek to identify what are the key ingredients to enable successful transformation. So to discuss those keys to success for telco to techco transformation for fixed broadband operators, I'd like to welcome back on stage our panel moderator, Senior Principal Analyst from Omdia, Stephen Wilson. And joining Stephen for this discussion, I'd like to introduce Fengjie Shan, President of the Optical Access Network product line from Huawei. Danny Lee, co-owner and Chief Technology Officer of HKBN Group. Francisco Javier Ramon Salguero, Head of Network Virtualization and Senior Technology Expert from Telefónica. Gloria Tushar, Voice of Customer CTO from Nokia. And to complete the panel and expert discussion, Frank Morales, Senior Vice President, Marketing and Business Development from Orange.
So yes, thank you for the introduction, Mark. So it's maybe worth all our panelists just very briefly introducing themselves, what their role is, before we get into this discussion. So I'm Stephen Wilson. I'm, as Mark said, a Senior Principal Analyst at Omdia. And really, we're industry analysts. And my role is all things broadband, really. So both supply and demand side as well, infrastructure, retail, new products and services. So a lot of the things that encompass this telco to techco transition. So if I could just ask the panelists to sort of speak a little bit about their role briefly. Zishan, do you want to talk a little about your role?
So my name is Zishan, so I'm from Huawei Technologies. So far, so I'm the president of Huawei Optic Fixed Access Network product line. And I'm in charge of the home product, including like ORT, ONT, and ODN. And it's end-to-end FTTH solution. Thanks.
Great, thank you. And Danny, do you want to?
Hello, I'm Danny Lee. I'm the CTO of HKBN Group. We are the second largest telco in Hong Kong, and we're serving almost 1 million households and half of the enterprises in Hong Kong.
I'm Francisco Javier Ramon. Lead the group of multi-cloud tools in the Global CDU unit of Telefónica.
Thank you.
Yeah. So good afternoon. I'm Gloria Tuchar. I'm the voice of customer CTO in Nokia Standards. I'm looking at the new technologies and defining the priorities and areas that we need to focus. And I would like just to thank you for inviting me here today.
It's our pleasure.
And I'm Frank Morris, so I'm part of the Orange Group. And within the Orange Group, I'm sitting into the wholesale division, and especially on the wholesale international, where I've taken care about the product portfolio and the support for business.
Yes. Well, thank you, everyone, for those introductions. Now, the title of our panel here today is Keys to Success for Telco to Techco Transformation for Fixed Broadband Operators. Now, I suppose this, as we've touched on throughout the sessions today, the Telco to Techco transformation has various different elements. And I guess one of the sort of underlying elements here is the network side. I guess starting with you, Zishan, what do you see as sort of the role of network upgrades in a Telco to Techco transformation?
So thanks for this question. So I understand that for operators, so the transformation from telco to Techco and is to develop a service. So the network upgradation is to meet different people requirements. And for example, for fiber broadband, there are totally 3 stages for the transformation. So first, the operators will deploy GPON to provide like several hundred megabits package for the subscribers to improve the ARPU. So the driving force is video content as a service. So this is the first stage. And for the second stage, so the operators will upgrade the GPON to 10 GPON network to meet the giga people requirements. And I think the driving force for the second stage is experience-based monetization. I can give you an example. For example, the Wi-Fi. So I know in the past, so people complain a lot about the Wi-Fi experience. And if you upgrade the bandwidth from several hundred to giga, so the operators can provide a better experience for the subscribers to continue to improve the ARPU. I think this is the second stage. For the third stage, so some of the top operators will deploy even 50 GPON and FTTR to provide value-added service to the subscribers because the package is higher, even to 10G megabits. I think totally 3 stages for the network upgradation. So the network upgradation is to meet the operators' service developing and requirements. That's my understanding.
Yes, that's a good and comprehensive answer. So lots of stuff around PON migration, but also the importance of launching new services and the importance of delivering an optimal customer experience. And Danny, what about your perspective on this question? The role of network upgrades in a telco to techco transformation from your operator perspective?
I think one of the things that we did 7 years ago is in the residential broadband, we provide all-in-one CPE, including broadband, Wi-Fi, cyber securities, and everything. Even we have a slot for the SFP ONT so that the customer do not need another power pack for that. And on top of that, because this box, all-in-one box, is also have the 24/7 customer services, so that it really tie in the stickiness with the customers. Right, instead of service, it's not a product, it's more a service to the customers. And on top of that, because most of the people most of the customer will put the Wi-Fi router underneath the table, so that we have this kind of we partner with Disney, so that we have this kind of CPE, so that they will see, well, okay, it looks nice, so you put on the top of the table instead of putting stuck in underneath the table. So it is like all around the service. It's not the product itself.
Yeah. So certainly an increasing focus on Wi-Fi for home broadband operators. That feels like an important component of this. And what about your perspective here, Francisco? What do you see as the role of network upgrades in a telco to Techco transformation?
Well, I think that the title of that gives a conducting idea on this chat. It has the implication that I mean there are some technologies that are bringing us in telco. However, that is not sufficient. I mean, and there is some implicit assumption that there is some room for being more agile. I'll give you an example here. I mean, in April 19th this year is the 100th anniversary of Telefónica, which is an old company. Most of the history of Telefónica is about replacing technologies and adopting effectively and massively the new wave of a new technology. This is not an exception. This year, in April 19th, is the commission the last copper access in Spain. I mean, everything from that point is FTTH. And that brings obvious advantages, of course. But that is where telco ends and where Techco begins, because also besides the obvious advantages of FTTH, comes with what can we do more effectively? How can we be more efficient on doing that? How we can build a foundation to try with less effort and incurring less time to market, right? And that is where also there is a lot of work that is not seen in that perspective. I mean, you don't see the fiber, something else but the fiber arriving to your home, but it's about all the IT that is behind, all the infrastructure that is behind, how you are automating that infrastructure behind the scenes to enable some APIs. And that is the rebound of the technology and businesses. And this is something that has not happened traditionally in telco industry. And this is happening now, because right now we have a new set of technologies that allow us to move faster, because they are not exclusive for the telco, that's the first thing. So we have a broader impact in industries, in different industries, and also are not necessarily tied, all of them, to formal standards. I'm sorry, because I see that there's been in the mood in the room in some of the presentations is being related to the standards, and the standards are fine, but also about informal standards that evolve very quickly. And I think that there are some opportunities, and it's implicit in that Techco view, considering the tech companies that they are in the mind of everyone else, that we should be able to embrace effectively that wave because of the technologies taking us there.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a sensible point of view. The importance of service agility and automation is clearly a part of this transformation. I wonder, Gloria, what's your perspective here on network upgrades and telco to Techco transformation?
Well, I think the network revolution is going to be key in this journey for them. So there are new applications that will help them to go upper in the chain. There's a recent study made by Bell Labs that they are forecasting that the traffic in the networks will grow by 69 times by 2030. The big part of this growth is coming from applications like Metaverse. And these kind of applications will help operators to become a techno company, because they can become co-creators of these Metaverse. It's not only about connectivity, but connectivity is key if we want to make Metaverse to be successful. In one side, it's about the data that is going to be generated by these kind of applications. But it's not only about data, it's as well about quality of service. So these Metaverse applications are requiring the low latency. They are requiring much more uplink traffic demanding. So in order to cope with all this traffic growth and this quality of services that the applications, immersive applications requires, we need to evolve these networks, and we need to go to XGS-PON, 35G PON, or 5G Advanced in the case of radio. I think it's important as well, what it was mentioned before, it's not only about the fiber to the home, but as well in the home network. So the Wi-Fi, mesh Wi-Fi is key to be able to be successful as well with these immersive applications.
Yeah, so the challenge that is posed by the development of new applications is sort of driving a need for these network upgrades as well. I wonder, Frank, what is your perspective on this topic?
Maybe a bit different in the view, even though at Orange Group we are pushing a lot for this network upgrade with FTTH deployed massively everywhere in our operations in Europe, France of course, but Belgium, Romania and other countries. From my perspective of wholesale, of course, the unit is 10 gig, and we are moved to 100 and 400 gig now, and we have done some experiment on 800 gig. So the run of the network upgrade is very important, but it crosses in the meantime 4 technology evolution that we have to deal with. The first one is open and disaggregation. Open standard and disaggregation, because it's very important. We have experimented that in our backbone dedicated to businesses in France, where we are deploying, and we have developed, and we are deploying an Orange disaggregated open switch in order to have a better reach at a lower TCO. So in the meantime, we are upgrading the backbone, and in the meantime, we are using this kind of technology. Virtualization, of course, is with a huge importance, but I think we will come back on that. And I have recently joined the wholesale side, but I was previously in the retail side, taking care of the connectivity product line of solutions. And virtualization, I think the major use case that we have done is the number of gateways, SD-WAN gateways for our B2B customer across the globe. The third one is really around the, and I think it's very important towards the network upgrade, it's everything around the orchestration. So orchestration, of course, we are using this massively. We are using orchestration for our resources, orchestration for our services, and we have been able in our global infrastructure, what we call Telco cloud infrastructure, to have these 4 layers type of infrastructure with the transmission side, and then the IP backbone, and then the telco cloud, which is a kind of IaaS infrastructure, and on top of this, the services. And the orchestrations allow us finally to manage all these layers independently, so we can upgrade the number of gigabits or hundreds of gigabits whenever it's possible. And in the meantime, we are able to manage the infrastructure, to manage the services. And all this is linked by the 4 technology evolution that we are using heavily, which is APIs. And this one is important in my view, because we are moving from a telco industry, which is quite standardized, usually speaking, to a techco industry, which is more coming in terms of development from the field, from some huge companies. And we really need to make sure that as a carrier, as a network operator, we continue to have these big pictures and to have this global view. And I'm part of MEF board, as you know, and it's exactly what we are doing for the B2B application, is trying to define the workloads, the payloads, and make sure that APIs allows us as network operators to federate resources, whether it is the transmission, the connectivity, the service itself, the connectivity to the cloud, whatever it is, because at the end of the day, you need to ensure the quality of service for the applications.
Sure. Well, it's great to hear the different perspectives there, and clearly there's a lot of different moving parts there. Now, I think as well, the telco to techco transformation is not just about sort of the network side of things, but it's also related to sort of the launch of new services and products. So I wonder, Zishan, you know, what after operators upgrade bandwidths, There's still a need for them to find services to monetize that bandwidth. How do you think vendors like Huawei can help with this?
Okay, so generally speaking, so there are three opportunities for operators for monetization. The first opportunity is bandwidth upgradation. So for operators, they can provide 1G or 2G bandwidth to the subscribers to improve the ARPU. So this is the first opportunities. So the second opportunity is experience monetization. For example, the Wi-Fi. So far, so there are a lot of complaints about Wi-Fi from the subscribers. The complaints about the Wi-Fi coverage, about the Wi-Fi experience. So FTTR innovation is a push to improve the Wi-Fi coverage, improve the Wi-Fi experience. So far, so FTTR grows faster than expectation. So as far as I know, so in globe, there are totally around 14 million commercial subscribers in the world. So this is a very good example for experience monetization. So for third opportunity is value-added monetization. So yesterday afternoon, so Huawei launched the FTTR F50 product, and for F50 product can provide home storage for the subscribers, and for operators they can put home storage in their commercial package to continue to improve the ARPU. So this is my understanding.
Sure, and so clearly there are opportunities here in the consumer market, things that can be done, FTTR, certainly taking prominence there. I wonder, Danny, from the sort of operator's perspective, I mean, opportunities for operators to launch new services and products as they transition to being a Techco?
Indeed. Like instead of like talking from the Telecom point of view, and more like business point of view, we had acquired 60 years old system integrator. So we really migrate from the Telco to the Techco side of it. But when we were like doing Telco, pure Telco connectivities, our sales is can only in touch of the like purchasing or procurement manager instead of like the CIO, CTO, because the CTO, CIO, like those we are seeing here as well, will not be interested to see a sales guy talking about connectivity, which is really commodity. But with the introduction of SI and technical capabilities, that like including cybersecurity, including managed security services and everything like that, then the stakeholder beyond CIO and CTO, including CEO and CFO, because they will be the one to be responsible on that, then will be interested to see what kind of services you sell. Then with that, then you will have the packages and then including the bundle with the connectivities. So in HKBN, actually we are selling like a product called product portfolio called Aegis Connect, which is like a checklist, like the customer can take data, I want voice, I want cybersecurity, and I want other services, including token services that our engineer will go on site half day or whatever, full day. Then with that, the customer will see the value from not a pure telco, from a Techco point of view, so that we create more customer stickiness with the customers. That's very important.
Sure. So opportunities there in the enterprise market as well. Francisco, is this something that you're sort of familiar with? Well,
I think that the point is about the new services is about to doing things a bit differently to launch a service as well. I mean, in the case of Telefónica, we've been a structure for a few years now as a company of platforms. That means, besides the high-level message, means that you are preparing for being ready for launching more new services that you don't know yet, but you are capable of launching them more efficiently. And that means a total change of paradigm. Of course, we can be agile on one specific launch. But the point is that if as we mentioned, the telco cloud is ready. If your APIs are ready, if the exposure of external APIs are ready, means that whenever that there are opportunities for launching new services, the friction for launching a service is much smaller. And even involving a third party is much simpler. So they can simply afford trying. And perhaps it's not, does not have a successful traction in the market, but perhaps yes. And if you make it much simpler to create it, that service, you have better chances to be successful. So that is a total change on the preparation, because you start thinking, it's been mentioned the case of the orchestration. I mean, the orchestration has been one of the mantras of the last decade, you know, in terms of in telco, because we all realize the opportunities. The point is that everyone is learning that also it's not about having a complex choreography, because we were already capable of doing that in the past. I mean, traditional OSS does that, very sophisticated. The point is whether we can simplify the choreographies, and the choreographies are very simple, and we have proper abstractions, so no, we don't need to start from scratch creating a complex choreography just for everything, right? And that is those initiatives for having open APIs as well, because we understand that, okay, we are capable of doing so, because we've been traditionally capable of doing so for a lot of decades, but the point is whether we want to and we need to, because perhaps we can create the solid foundations and take it from there so we can be more agile in the launch of new services.
Yeah. So I think that's a really good point. It's giving yourself the best chances of being successful. You're not going to be successful with everything, but you need to try, keep trying. What's your sense here, Gloria, about how vendors can help operators in this new paradigm and launch new, help them launch new products and services?
Yeah, so I think that we can help them in different areas. One of the things that operators need to improve is the agility when they introduce new services. So they need to be much faster. And one of the first steps to become more agile in that sense is it's through automation. So we need to change the paradigm in the operations. We need to bring automation to the whole chain of the operations and help them to achieve this autonomous network concept. On the other side, I think that security is as well a key topic. If we help them to bring the security towards the end user when they are at home, it's an area that we can help them, and they can see as well, they can be perceived by the end users more on the technical side. And then the last point that I've seen that they have been commented already, it's the networks needs to become programmable. And in order to be programmable, we need to open the APIs towards developers. We need to create that developer communities that use these open APIs to make more successful the networks.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of innovation going on in lots of different areas there with automation, with things like network slicing as well. Opening that up for third parties, perhaps to get involved in that as well and use those slices. Frank, what's your sort of sense here about, and maybe speaking from the experience of Orange, opportunities for operators to launch new services and product offerings as part of this Techco transformation? What's your sense and perspective on this question?
On this is absolutely part of the first pillar of the strategy that has been revealed by Christel Henman, our new CEO at group level, which is to maximize the value of our assets. And of course, inside our assets, our networks, our backbones are a main part of it. So there are two ways, in fact, of providing value and giving value to customers and for us. One is to provide a new experience on services that are existing, and the other one is creating new service. On the first one, a pure wholesale product, a layer 2 product, EVPL. Well known, it's quite a part of all product portfolio of any wholesaler in the world. What we have done is we have done a full online experience where you can ask for eligibility, availability, quotation, you can order, you can follow your order, you can upgrade, whatever it is. And that's it's a way to monetize our assets. And the beauty of it is people can also go up to the local loop. You don't have to ask for an EVPL between two POPs. We can go to the open loop. We have integrated some local loop inside this digital experience. We have integrated the capability to do a layer 2 EVPL to the cloud. And the beauty, I was speaking before about the MEF and the APIs, the LSO Sonata. We have integrated also all the backbones from some competitors, or co-competitors, let's say. And our customer can order an EVPL using a part of the road on our backbone and the part of the road on the backbone of our partner. So it's really the way we are doing things, moving from telco to techco. Rapidly on new services, we have our telco cloud infrastructure widely deployed, and we are currently developing this local breakout for 5G and IoT in order to reduce strongly the latency and for connected card or this kind of application is quite important.
So lots of interesting stuff going on there, lots of opportunities. So I suppose one of the other pieces of this telco to techco transformation is really around the organizational side. So sort of there clearly is a people element here as well. What sort of organizational changes are required to move from being a telco to a techco? Is this something that you have a perspective on, Zishan?
So I understand, so in the past, so the carrier service was developed slowly, and the network deployment mainly driven by the flow increasement. But now the AI-based technology grows faster than expectation. So the network upgradation is driven by the target network and target architecture, and to meet the future requirements. And for Huawei, we would like to participate in standard organization and the industry, so we can define target network and target architecture to support the operators' business success. So this is my understanding.
Great. And I wonder, Danny, what's your sort of perspective on this from the experience that you've had in HKBN?
I just shared that we have an acquisition of SI, and actually for this, I'm always talking about the sell culture, right? When you're selling a connectivity and when you're selling a SI, a project-based items, it's actually total difference. The ecosystem, the culture, the mandate, the mindset, they are all different. Even from the sales, even from the pre-sales, from the post to the post-sales, it's all different. And we had a hard time when we acquired that SI company. And there's a lot of telco trying to acquire the SI company and trying to sell more than the connectivities. And most of the time is because of the telco business is much bigger than SI business, will be the sales team and the tech team will be led by the connectivity side instead of the SI side. And we found that it's total disaster for HKBN at the time. And then we finally come to a balance of the sales team, the pre-sales team, post-sales team should go hand in hand to go to the customers and engage with the customer with the more value-added services and create value with the customers. So we did it like we always tell the customer, we are not selling you the best solutions, we are selling you the best fit solution so that we can grow with the customers. So this is really important in the enterprise solution side.
Great. Well, it's great to hear from your sort of experience there. And I wonder, Francisco, I mean, do you have a take on this? Some of the organizational challenges that might be involved?
Well, no, I think that we are rediscovering how are the most efficient ways of managing the new technologies that are coming and the new waves. I was describing the way that we are structured by platforms. That was something that 10, 15 years ago was impossible to think, right? And now we need to structure around that organization because it's the right type of organization for the current technologies, not for the former ones. I think that what are the constraints where we are living now is that the technologies evolve much faster. And you need to be continuously learning and discarding technologies. So even for a given type of use case, you identify quickly 5, 10 technologies that seem quite appealing, and you need to select which one. So that requires a different mood in terms of how you learn and how you unlearn things that you thought that were quite efficient and are no longer the best possible path. And that requires organizing yourselves also in that manner.
And it's a change of mentality, I guess, as well.
Yeah, and also being capable as organizations, not as individuals, of internalizing the lessons learned quickly. Because, I mean, if you are building PSTNs until the new wave of PSTN arrive, well, you could master that technology. But right now, it's not like that. There are vast number of technologies, a vast number of experts of specific fields. You need to be able to digest that know-how, which is informal, and there's no handbook for that know-how. And the winners in this journey to Techco are likely the ones that can learn faster.
Adaptability.
Yeah.
And Frank, what's your sort of sense here, your perspective from Orange?
I don't know if I have the magic way of doing it. What I can share is some tips that we have learned from on this journey, because at the end of the day, it's a journey. You can't do it as a big bang, you know. And the first thing is people, and you need people, and so it means that you need to have skilled people to work on that journey, on that technology. Mindset, of course, but you can create the mindset, but the skills are very important. So you need to hire people, you need to reskill people, you need to upskill people, you need to do whatever in order to get the right skills. Then when we have the skill, it's also a question of governance. So what we have done is very concrete project, small one, but providing values. And in the meantime, governance, it's all about what we have set up. It's the technical design authority in order to make sure that any project that was moving on, we are doing it in a consistent manner in terms of choice of technology. As you were saying, you can have a lot of choices, but let's make sure that all our projects are somehow made with the right and the same kind of technology, because at the end of the day, again, you probably have to take a piece of this project and a piece of this one, and if you are not with the same technology, then you need to also, when you want to scale, you need to have two things. First, you need to have take from this project, you need to densify and to really make it as a global project. It's what we have done, for example, and on the B2B side with the Evolution platform design. And it's also what we have done. This one was more a long-tail project, very massive, on the engineering side, with what I described before, our 4 layers infrastructures. This has been a project named Engine in our organization, a 4 years project. Everyone was moving. And along the journey, we have integrated more technology, more way of working, one roof, agile way, etc., in order to spread quite widely the capability to work somehow as a Techco inside the organization.
So lots of lessons there. Now, I guess this is a question for everyone, just to finish up here. So, I mean, to summarize, what would you highlight really as the keys to success? That's what we're trying to get at here. What do you think is the keys to success for operators making the move from being a telco to a techco?
Okay, so I believe the innovation is the approach for operators transformation to move from telco to telco. I believe WBBA is a platform, so Huawei would like to enhance the communication by using WBBA platform, and Huawei would like to participate in a standard organization and collaborate with the industry to define the future-proof target network and architecture to support the operator business success. So that's my understanding, yes.
Yes, I think information sharing amongst the community is definitely important to, share the lessons learned, understand the keys to the success that different operators have had. What's your take, Danny, here?
I have three points to share. Like from telco to telco is a cultural change. So we need top-down as well as bottom-up cultural change and mindset, everything, so that we have the whole company to have the commitment to change. That's really important. The second point is like we try to create value to our customers. We are not selling features and product. We are selling solutions and services to our customers. So that with that, we can help the customer to grow. And this is tied to the third point I want to make is grow with your customer with the best fit solution so that you can gradually grow and hand in hand with the customer stickiness. Then we can always sell with the more margin of the connectivities on that. So this is have the both benefit to the telco and techco.
Yeah. It seems like HKBN is certainly a leader in a lot of areas, and the engagement that you have from the employees, the ownership model that you have is great. What about you? What's your take here, Francisco, on this? The keys to success that you might perceive as part of this telco to techco transition?
Well, probably since we are in a journey of learning, probably will be a partial view, and I will be happy to reformulate it in 6 months, right?
But what we're saying, isn't it?
But provided that, I think that from my point of view, is that it's no longer the industry that we used to be in, and we need to be able to first being able to fail fast if we can. We can. That requires that we can afford failing, because that will give us some opportunities to being successful and being successful big time. so it's a totally different paradigm from the security that we had in a very few stable services. So we need to be able to transform that. The second is being able to adopt technologies that have been successfully adopted by other technologies that are not telco specific, but would be good enough for telco. Because those will give us the scale that goes beyond telco industry that help us accelerate further. And I think that also requires that there's no longer one golden standard for everything, but that we need to be ready to learn quickly, extract the lessons quickly, and adopt and embrace the technologies quickly, and learn quickly as well, because there will be the new wave that will force us to move on. I think that we are capable of doing that, which is easier to say than to achieve. We'll be well positioned in that journey.
Yes, I think so. And Gloria, what's your sense here of what really matters to achieve success here?
Yeah, so I think one of the key topics is going to be AI adoption. So AI is going to be key for them to be more efficient, more agile. AI needs to be embedded in all the process, in how to manage the networks. So I think that AI adoption and Gen AI is going to be key for them.
Yeah, that feels like obviously it's a macro trend, and it's, to say the least,
macro trend.
We're capitalized, and obviously telcos need to be paying very close attention to that. Frank, what's your sense to round up here about the keys to success as part of this transformation?
Maybe let's take it from Top Gun Maverick, don't think, act. I think the only area where you need to think is to think about experience. You need to lead by experience, but you need to think about experience. You need to think about customer experience, you need to think about employee experience, you need to think about partner experience, maybe something we have not addressed, but you need to have partners with you, and you need to give them also a nice experience, and you need to think about acquiring talent experience, which is very important in this area from telco to techco. And when with that, let's do things quite simply. Have nice project, make consistency with a kind of technical design authority or whatever, and have a long-term plans, because you need at one point in time to densify and to make sure that you will progress with the technology, as you were mentioning, with Gen AI and all the nice technology coming there.
Fantastic. Well, it was so good, I think, to lots of different perspectives, actually. That was really nice. We had a range of opinions and perspectives from the panel here. So it just leaves me to thank our panelists with a round of applause, please. So thank you again to all our panelists. And now I think we will hand over to Mark to close the event.
Perfect. Thank you, Stephen, and thank you again to all of our panelists. Thank you. Before we formally close today's Broadband Development Congress Barcelona 2024, I would just like to remind you again about the research, the thought leadership research that we've launched on the stage today. You can access that via the QR code on the back of your agenda leaflet. You can also let us know your feedback on today's event and what you would like to see from future events via the survey QR codes. And also you can access the inquiry form for free membership of the World Broadband Association via the third QR codes. I'd just like to thank all of our speakers and all of our panelists for the very stimulating discussion through the course of this afternoon. Before we close, I'd finally like to invite Martin Creaner, Director General of the World Broadband Association, back onto the stage for his closing remarks.
Well, thanks again, Mark. And I think everybody would agree it's been an excellent afternoon of discussions. I think the perspectives we got and the quality of speakers we got from our opening welcome addresses to the keynote presentations from such august individuals. And I think there was a set of themes that ran across this for me. I think obviously what we heard in this panel session and the telco to techco evolution is a topic that's very close to my heart. And I think it's something that telcos cannot avoid. It is a technology challenge, it's a cultural challenge. A number of years ago, I wrote a book called Transforming the Telco. And in that, I talk about 10 separate journeys, ranging from the technology and infrastructure challenges to security challenges, to new service challenges, to people challenges, to business model challenges. And I think to customer challenges, and all of those are still absolutely relevant in the telco to techco transformation. And I think this panel covered that and talked about that in very clear terms. The sort of forward-looking perspectives that we heard from Huawei, from CTC, from Accenture's presentation, I think it resonated very well with me indeed, because I think we are at a time, this industry is always changing, but we're at a time of accelerated and rapid change. And as we see the emergence of new devices, of Gen AI, of faster and faster technologies moving from 1 gig to 10 gig in the home and in the campuses. So I think that there's a lot of change going on in this industry, and now is a very good time for the World Broadband Association to come into existence. Our vision is very much to provide a clear view of the future and a mechanism for the members who are participating in this industry to work with each other, to interact with each other, to buy and sell from each other as needed, and to take the voice of this industry in a coherent fashion to the decision makers in governments and regulators and so on. now is a great time for the existence of this industry organization. And if you are already a member, please continue to engage and engage even more. If you're not a member yet, as Mark says, it's very easy to join, and there's a lot of interesting work going on within the organization. One last point I will make before I close is that we're launching, one of the things that we will be launching over the coming days and weeks and months is an awards program. And the WBBA Broadband Development Awards, Broadband Excellence Awards, will be, it's going to start in 2024, and it's going to grow into what we hope is the benchmark awards for the industry. And we will be launching it and publishing the categories for awards within the next few weeks. We expect to get submissions in the March, April, May timeframe. We'll be putting together our panel of judges for June, July, and August, and we'll be presenting the awards at our BDC event in October in Paris. So please keep your eyes open for that. And these awards will be awards that recognize excellence within operators, recognize excellence within vendors, recognize excellence in other parts of the community, and also recognize excellence in implementation of excellent broadband in municipalities through gigacities and so on. So all very exciting, and something that I would hope that you will look at and look to engage your company in. I think there's little left to say other than to thank all of the presenters today, the panelists, the keynote speakers, the welcome speakers. I hope you've got if you're continuing the week, attending the rest of Mobile World Congress, I hope you have a very successful week. I've been in the FIRA already and walked around the floor, and as Lara said at the start, it is quite mind-blowing the types of technologies that are on show, the types of use cases that are being talked about. And it's certainly incredibly busy, so I can well believe her number of 100,000 people attending the event. So thank you all very much, and we will draw the event to a close and hopefully get a chance to have a chat with some of you afterwards over a glass of orange juice. Thank you.